you also do tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you care to talk about?
Yeah. Well, I've been tattooing since I was about 15. I started randomly one morning. I was kind of pressured into doing it. And it sort of snowballed.
What's the story like?
Well, so everybody who okay, let's see how I can put this. My mom's side, they're very unfamiliar about the art world. They're very unfamiliar with how the art industry works. They don't really know the potential that artists, they're familiar with Picasso and Da Vinci, but they don't really understand. They know that they're dead. They don't really understand that an artist can achieve great achievements and success alive in art. So their perspective on this industry was very narrow. And the way they looked at tattooing was like, if you're an artist, you can do tattoos and make a lot of money. They're familiar with like Kat Von D, and they know that she's alive and famous and making a lot of money. So they felt like that was maybe like the next step after being an artist. Like, oh, maybe you can do tattoos. Like maybe you can be really successful at that. And that's kind of like what they pushed me to do. But they didn't realize that, tattooing, there's more successful fine artists than there is tattoo artists, in my opinion. It's very hard to achieve success in the tattoo world. It's very hard to find your style. It's very hard to get in a good shop and build a clientele. You're tattooing every single day. You have to build up that clientele, and you have to keep that clientele pleased, and you're working on skin. It's very dangerous. But I finally did it one day. I saved up some money. I bought a machine and all my equipment, and it sort of snowballed. And I as a young, teen, I wanted to take it serious, and I thought about making it into a career, but it quickly made me realize that the industry is very, very weird. There's a lot of weird movement in the industry, and I didn't like that. And I didn't want the tattoo world to affect my fine art world, because I'm a fine artist first and foremost. Tattooing is something that I've done for a long time, and I love it, and it's allowed me to build really great friendships, and I enjoy doing it, but I focus on more of my art now. And I do it for friends and family. If there's an opportunity to do a tattoo that I really want to do, or there's a potential client that I'd love to tattoo, then I'll take on that job. But oftentimes I sort of keep it on the down low now, and I keep it really tight. But tattooing is fun, and I encourage anybody who is very interested in doing it to do it right, take the right steps, and really put forth the effort into doing it. Because it's not like you can do it half-ass. You got to be all in. With anything though, but tattooing especially, you have to be all in, because there's a lot of work and studying and practice that goes into it. It's not something that you could just jump into, but tattooing is fun.
Okay. And you told me that you also started working for Disney at one point. Yeah.
I started working at Disney Studios about 4 years ago. I work in the ink and paint department, which is the oldest running operating department within the company. Me and my dad both work together side by side. We're inkers and painters, and we're two of three only in the entire company. And we create artwork the way Disney was creating animation back in the 1930s. And it's a very old way of making art. It's old animation technique. It's not really taught or done anywhere else. We might be the only studio in the entire world that still does this. Everybody who knows how to do this is either retired, deceased, or they just don't do it anymore. They're really old, because they don't teach this. They don't even teach this at Cal Arts, which is, Walt Disney's college. They don't even teach that there. So it's a very niche trade, and you kind of have to learn from someone who knows how to do it or has been doing it for a really long time.
What is the pro? Like, what is it? What's like a brief, like, kind of description of what you're saying? Like, you create art like how Walt Disney created it.
So animation back in the 1930s was done by hand. It was hand inked and painted animated figures on a clear sheet that's a cell, and that cell is placed on a background that's also hand painted, and each cell is a frame, and it takes about 24 frames to create 1 second of a film, but back in those days. So it's kind of like, you're familiar with stop motion photography. It's a very similar process. Each movement is hand inked and painted. It's inked on the front, flipped over, and painted on the back. And then when you flip it back over, you have an animated character on a background. And then you paint the next movement, and then you move the background a little bit. And that frame is shot by the multiplane camera, which was designed specifically for Snow White, and also designed by Iworks. So we create fine art that same way on cells, hand inked and hand painted on backgrounds that are also hand painted. And those cells are framed up like an actual painting, and then they get sold as fine art. That's what we do. We don't create work that you see in production today because everything is CGI. Everything is done digitally. Our work is solely like a limited edition collector's item. So that's what we do at Disney, where we pretty much keep the legacy of hand inked and paint fine art, or hand inked and paint animation. We keep that going at Disney.
That's great.
Yeah. And there's a documentary on Disney Plus. You can check it out. Yeah.
So, just have one more questions. Did you actually? I know you said you went to college.
Mm-hmm.
Did you study art in college?
A little bit. I went to college at UNLV for 2 years, and I dropped out after my second year cold turkey. While I was there, I was studying and majoring in fine art, but I was too advanced for any of the classes that they had to offer, even the advanced classes. So I found it, I kind of found it just a waste of time. And I didn't want to, I should have studied like business or something, or theater. You know, I do acting and music too. So maybe music theory or theater would have been more beneficial to me, because I didn't really learn much while I was there. They didn't really teach me anything that I didn't already know. By the time I got to college, my drawing technique was already pretty realistic. I was drawing pretty realistic portraiture and doing really contemporary stuff already. So, you know, I didn't get into the art schools that I wanted to. I really would have loved to have gone to like Pasadena Art Center or UCLA or Juilliard or any one of those schools. You know, they have really great art programs, but really expensive too. And UNLV wasn't that expensive, but college life wasn't for me. I realized that I didn't need it. You know, it was hard work that I needed to do, and that was easy work. I'm not built for easy work. I'm built for hard work, and hard work was just diving headfirst into, you know, cold waters with the sharks. That's kind of how I operate. I can't, you know, start small and build the way up, because I do better, and I feel like I create better work and I learn faster on the spot, and I'm very hands-on, and you just got to put me in with the wolves and I'll figure it out.
That's dope.